pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We have the agenda in front of us. Is there any additions or corrections?
Not that I'm aware of.
Someone want to make a motion?
This Ted will make the motion to accept.
Dave, I'll second.
Ed moves, David seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, motion carried. Public input. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the board? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. If all had a chance to review it, is there anything that should be pulled or wants to be or should be discussed outside of it? Okay, is there a motion?
This Ted. I'll make a motion to accept the
Ted moves.
consent agenda.
I'll second.
Tom seconds. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried. County employee recognition. Mike?
Good morning.
Morning.
For employee recognition today in the Auditor-Treasurer's Department, we have Skylar Castning, Chief Deputy Auditor, began the full-time position on July 28th. In the County Administrator, Blake Arneson, intern, is recognized for service from May 12th to August 15th. In the County Attorney's Department, Dan Amon, intern, is recognized for service from May 21st to August 8th. In Human Services, Michaela Shableen, intern, is recognized for service from May 19th to August 1st. In the Sheriff's Department, Jared Anderson, Deputy Sheriff, is recognized for 20 years of service on July 23rd. And in Solid Waste, Travis Ewell, Solid Waste Operator, began the full-time position on August 4th.
Well, thank you to everyone. Thank you, Mike.
I would just mention Skylar would normally be here, but he's out of the office at a Tyler training today.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll move on to highway survey.
Good morning.
Morning.
A few items today, and then I will also give a couple updates on construction projects at the end. The first item is to approve the final payment for our projects on CASA 6. They're SAP 029606009 and 010. They were the projects that we did last year from CASA 15 down to the county line. And the final payment to Anderson Brothers is $117,093.16.
And everything was done satisfactorily.
Yeah, they did an excellent job. I really like those FDR projects. I think you get a better final product than mill and overlay, a longer lasting project. Some issues this year with MnDOT using it as a haul road that I gotta contact them about, that we'll get some repairs done on it, but otherwise it's a beautiful road, I think.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I wasn't too excited to let them use it, but it really, I can't not let them use it. It's their shortest haul road, so. But there is a couple issues that happened on it, and I'll have them come in and either suggest a repair or we'll get a monetary value for some damages on it.
Okay.
Dave, I'll move to approve.
Dave moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Shar seconds. Any more discussion?
Jeff.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Right, motion carried.
Okay. All right, the next item I have is to approve a quote to mill and overlay the parking lot in the Nevis Shop. The parking lot, as far as we can find, the last time it was done was in the year 2000, so 25 years old. It's showing its age. We received two quotes, one from Anderson Brothers, who is doing our CASA 13 project, which is right along the Nevis Shop there, and the other Northern Paving. The low quote was Anderson's at $37,900.25. Spoke with Jeff about it, and he mentioned that we had some money in the capital fund that we could use to do that this year. So I'd like to do it while Anderson's is there and be able to get a decent price, which you can see from the quote, it quite a bit lower with them being in the area.
All right, is there a motion?
Instead, I'll make a motion to accept the low quote from Anderson Brothers.
Ted
It
move.
makes sense too, right there.
It does. They're right there. They're a good paving company. They have all the equipment and tools and staff there with doing the Nevis job too. A lot smaller equipment there. Yeah.
Ted moves, is there a second?
I'll second.
Tom seconds, any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
All right. The next item is again at the Nevis Shop. Last fall, we were made aware of that the roof was leaking in areas. These flat roofs in northern Minnesota, I think it's a common problem. But this roof is old, and it has, I included a picture in there, it has rock on the surface, so a little more issues with that. The water's pooling around the vents, and then it's clogging the drains that are going out. So we asked two people to come out and give us a quote to replace that roof. They came out, and Green Valley Roofing LLC was the low quote at $46,000. And so we'd really like to do that before the winter to kind of get ahead of those problems and not have them again when the snow melts in the spring. They're gonna come in and take off the rock and replace the insulation, and then it's like a rubber matting on the top of the roof and seal it up. And then part of that too, a separate quote that we get received is to install a roof ladder. Right now, there's not any type of ladder to get on the roof over there, so they have to use just an extension ladder, which is not safe. So we asked them to include a ladder also. So
Will this ladder be accessed from inside the building or outside?
I believe it's outside. I believe it's on the side of the building to get up.
Okay.
So we'll have like a gate lock on it to make sure that it's.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there was something to prevent people from climbing up.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, we'll put something on there to prevent that. And then again, this is out of that capital fund for the county.
And the other quote didn't supply anything for a ladder?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the low quote.
Char moves, is there a second?
This Ted will second.
Ted seconds, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
Okay. The last agenda item I have is we had a bid opening for our last project of the year. It's our SP 029070014, which is a HSIP project at the intersection of 4 and 40. We were planning on adding a center left turn lane in both north and south directions. And the low quote came in on that project from Gladen Construction out of Bemidji for $441,901.98. This was higher than our engineer estimate. I included that this time in the board packet. But we talked to state aid, and they're able to approve the funding for it, so we can move forward with it.
This
And
is
we
all-
have the funds.
This is HSIP dollars paying for this?
There's HSIP, and then the rest will be our state aid funds on it.
Okay, all right.
I don't know the exact number because they had to kind of scramble to pool some HSIP funds together for it, but once we get it approved, then they do their split cost for us.
Okay.
So is it over that much because it's just a small project they have to come in?
It's
and
a small project. It was a late bidding. Contractors are pretty full. And then pavement prices jumped up quite a bit. So they weren't able to use one of their typical paving contractors, just they have some issues with the feds. So they had to go to a different supplier for that. So the cost of pavement was a little higher than they were expecting.
When do you hope to have it finished?
It's, so we're planning on starting the first week in September, and it should be like a 3-week project, a really quick turnaround project. And then that kind of entails too, not only the center turn lanes, but I don't know if you're all familiar with that intersection, but as you're sitting on 40 looking to the west, they're gonna cut down those hills on the east side and to provide better sight distance around that curve as you're going.
will there be a detour then?
Nope, it'll be under traffic. Yep.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the low quote from Gladen Construction. One thing I want to point out though is they have their address as Bemidji. I'd like to see that they're a Hubbard County business. Actually, I don't see why it doesn't say LaPorte.
Yeah, I don't know. it might just be their zip code. I mean, they're located in Hubbard County,
Oh,
but I don't, it might just be where they're,
in Steve's district.
yeah, I guess I don't know why.
Maybe they
They're-
got a post office box in the G or something.
Yeah, even when you Google them, their address pops up as a Bemidji
Oh.
address, but
And I live closer to Bemidji than they do, and my address is
yeah,
LaPorte.
I'll have to ask them about that. I never thought of that before.
All right,
I'll second.
Ted moves, Shar seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried.
All right, and then just some construction updates. The first one I'd like to update you all on is, I'm sure you've heard by now that we had a petition go out about our CASA 7 and 40 roundabout, and with concerns about the lighting on there. We originally had 16 lights on the roundabout, which is pretty standard talking to across the state. I sent an email out to all the counties in the state. They put lights on where there's conflict points, which include, curves, hills, concrete medians, pedestrians, exits. But we took another look at it. We had our consulting engineer take another look at it, and we ended up reducing it by 4 lights, so now there's 12, and we're gonna go with that with moving forward. It'll still provide the same, or safety that we want out there, year-round safety. I think that's an important factor that we need to think about. It's not just the summer, it's the winter too, when it's dark at 4:30 in the afternoon. So I think that will do that, and then we're meeting still all the state and county, or the state aid standards for that roundabout with the lighting. So that's just an update on that, if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, I got one. Since White Oak Township's in my district, did you get that letter from the township
I
board?
saw your email. I haven't had a chance to open and read it yet. I'm assuming it's about weed.
Yeah,
weed
net weed
control and-
control, yeah.
Yeah, and as far as I know, and talking to Greg Hensel, who's the ag inspector for the county, he said that you can manage weeds by mowing or spraying. And we are mowing currently, so I guess that's management, but I'm double checking into that and looking into the White Oak Township specifically.
I received quite a few calls on that too, and this dates back even to when I was on Henrietta Township. The knapweed it's way out of hand.
Yeah.
So we probably really need to take a real hard look about our 3-year, 1/3.
Yeah.
We might have to do like catch up every other year for a little while, because it's bad.
Yeah,
A lot of spots.
I saw driving around, you can see it right now when it's flowered. You can really see it. And yeah, I agree that we need to do some catch up. I think there was a few years prior that they didn't have any plan for it or any contractors come in, so they got behind a few years to get out and spray though.
How about the,
Jed,
go ahead.
several years back, Jed brought some kind of program to the board about, keeping some areas not mowed or sprayed due to allowing something like milkweed. Yeah, pollinators and things like that to flourish. And so how do you do both?
I guess my opinion is the right of way. Mowing, it's not just about the weeds, it's about the safety. And then in the winter, eliminating drifting and stuff. So I would like to see our right of way mowed. I think there's plenty areas in the county that butterflies can flourish outside of the right of way. They cause sight distance, for deer especially, that when they hide in the long grass along the road and people can't see them as quick as they would be if it was mowed back. But that's not to say that there's not a potential for maybe a gravel rural county road to be that kind of type of area. There is a effort out there, I guess I'll say, of the program where they're wanting like acreage to not be mowed to provide this habitat. I think Polk County jumped on board with it pretty heavily. But it doesn't, in my understanding, it doesn't have to be exactly along your road right away. If the county owns, some field land or something, you could qualify that in there. And essentially, my understanding is that someday they're going to create a permit or a policy that you have to either pay or manage your acreage to have a certain amount for these butterflies, is my understanding with it. Not a lot of counties have jumped on board though, from what I've heard. It's not very popular, I guess I'll say right now with the counties to want to do that preemptively in terms, they don't know what's happening.
Curious about that, 'cause I remember Jed bringing that to us.
Yeah, and I think I actually talked to him about this when I started, and he said he just brought it to you to make you aware of it, that it might happen in the next, 10 years, that the DNR or something might happen with the monarch butterfly where they list it, and then we have to comply with another endangered species thing.
So at the very least, I think we need to, do a comprehensive survey of where this is a problem and then get after it, because there's some folks that are trying to manage their fields naturally. And then you got a county road right there, or township road, and it's loaded with knapweed. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, I talked to Eric this morning, actually. I'd like to get a couple, either one or two of our guys certified to become a non-commercial sprayer in the county, so we can go out and directly do small areas if we get calls on it, and then have a contract run every year where we can get the person out there to actually do the spraying. So kind of run a two system when we get calls or concerns, from the townships, that we can send our own guys out there and go spray, and then run the contract consecutively.
I think on the subject of knapweed, Highway 71, it's from the shoulder of the road all the way through the right-of-ways in a lot of stretches. I saw
Yeah.
it this morning.
That's actually where I've seen it the most, is on 71, right on the right of way.
So if this is, I know the state of Minnesota is, is determined that knapweed is an invasive plant, and yet their ditches are full of them.
Yeah.
So who do we contact at the state for them to take care of that kind of stuff?
I would contact their maintenance district assistant engineer up there. I believe it's, I can't remember if it's Darren Leish, maybe is the maintenance engineer up there now.
In Bemidji?
Yep, out of Bemidji district. Yep.
I know MnDOT does do some spraying in their right away for noxious weeds, brush and stuff like that. But I don't know what their rotation is. But I do agree with Andrea about keeping our right of ways clean, because once you lose it, you lose it. And you get trees growing in there, and then it's a struggle to even cut a tree after it gets to be so big. So it's a safety issue more than anything, in my opinion. And I do want to see us keeping our right of ways clean and open as best as possible, so.
Paul Knutson, actually, I believe, is the maintenance engineer for Bemidji, or the district.
All righty, thank you.
Yeah.
And I also had several comments from townships about the lack of spraying this year. And I know
Yeah.
there were some circumstances that
Yep.
didn't allow for him to be present all the time, so I understand that. But I think we got a lot of ground to make up.
We do,
Definitely.
yes, definitely.
Then we run into the issue of capacity of being able to tote enough water around to do all the spraying that would be on the list.
Right, right.
So there's another challenge we're gonna face.
Yeah, and it's a time, from my understanding, it's a time, you want to, I guess you spray it before you mow it, before you blast out all the seeds everywhere, and so it's a timing on, between us and the sprayers, and so it's a really time-sensitive type of project too. In the spring, especially when you're out there trying to fix up your roads from the winter, and but we'll tackle it, and we'll get a better program set up here in the county for sure. Yeah, and then just a couple quick updates about the roundabout. We're almost finished with the concrete out there. It's a beautiful project. If you guys have a chance to go out there, let me know, or Derek can meet you out there and he can show you around. It's amazing what they can accomplish. Paving, I think they're planning around August 18th out there, and then it'll be wrapped up by the 22nd of August. The 45 bridge, the deck, we're planning on pouring mid-August, and then they'll kind of wrap up the abutments and everything through September. CASA 1 is going really well. They're really concentrating on the city utilities right now. There was a notice out today that they shut off water pretty much the east side of town, in between 81 and the project. They're replacing a very large water main there, and just happens to serve that whole population. And then they're planning on putting curb and gutter in the first two blocks about the week of August. So it's coming along, and that one will be a really cool project too when it's done. CASA 13, that one started on Monday. They're replacing some centerline culverts, and then they're starting the milling on the road next week. And that one plans to go through September as well, with Nevis tackled in there, I think at the end of August is when they were thinking. And then that CASA 4 and 40 will start the first week of September. And then just a couple minor lingering H-SIP jobs, striping and some rumbles to go in, so. Still working. Still a lot, even though it's almost end of summer.
Right, anything else for Andrea? Right, well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Natural resources.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, it's a pretty full agenda today on my end. The first item is that the Park Rapids Community Board, it's a new board that's encouraging a community center in Park Rapids. They'd like to hold a nonprofit pickleball tournament at the pickleball courts at Harlan Park on August 28th for 4 hours. And they are requesting the county to waive the fees to hold the nonprofit tournament and fundraiser. The fees would be $72, so it's pretty minimal. But by policy, we have to come here to ask for the waiving of the fees. And the Parks Board recommends the fees being waived also. So they're looking for approval from you all.
Just have a question about if that's going to be a nonprofit event. I mean, that's gonna probably entail quite a few people. I mean, are they gonna clean up some of that themselves, or is our staff gonna have to put in extra effort to?
So I would think they would clean it up themselves. When the pickleball club rents it out, it does stay pretty clean, and I believe the pickleball club is going to help out with the event. So yeah, it should be hopefully pretty clean by the time it's done, or else things might be different in the future.
So I know this is not your wheelhouse, but do they have to get a permit from the assessor to do this? Or not the assessor, the auditor?
I don't think so in our policy.
Because there's not gonna be any money.
Yep.
Okay.
If it's nonprofit, it can happen. But if they were a vendor making a profit, they would have to have liability insurance, the $1.5 million, and then come here to get the approval for being a vendor. They wanted food trucks there, and I said every single food truck's going to have a liability insurance and then get approval to be a vendor. There's about 4 or 5 different things they need to have before they can actually sell at our parks. So they decided not to do that and just do the nonprofit pickleball tournament.
That'll save on garbage.
Yeah.
That's true.
So those
Just water bottles.
participating in the tournament, they pay an entrance fee to be in
Yeah.
there? Oh,
Yep,
that's where
yep.
money comes from?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I believe Tanya Larson's here from the board, but I believe they pay $25 or something to enter the tournament.
They must have checked it out ahead of time to see if it would be a viable way to raise money then.
Yeah. But
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Shar moves, Dave seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. motion
Mr.
carried.
Chair, before we go on, I'm gonna put a bug in your ear, Corey,
Sure.
for the Parks Board.
Yep.
2 things, I went and saw Donna so I could understand the
Sure.
procedure, what happens for pickleball. It actually seems kind of labor intensive in this day and age. So 2 things I'd like the Park Board to consider is raising the rent
Sure.
on the courts, cause $3 seems like
Yeah.
it's,
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't even cover Donna's time.
No.
And secondly, I don't know what it would cost to actually put a small kiosk out there, so you could actually, Donna could do all that work from her office instead of you guys having to manually
Yeah.
put up
Yep.
the signs.
So
So, anyway,
yeah. Yep. The problem is we don't have Wi-Fi there at the moment, but
I know, but I'm thinking in this day and age, right?
Yeah,
It might
yeah.
not be cost effective. I know it's not
yep.
very many months, but
Yep. No, I completely agree with you. Yeah. So we do put about $60 worth of Donna's time and Greg's folks, the seasonals time into per rental. So and we only get $3 out of it, which it's not always all about the money, but it would be nice to get a little more than $3. So maybe for the fee schedule, summer's winding down now, so
Yeah,
maybe the fee schedule at the beginning of the year, we can adjust those prices. And
It's not uncommon at the private ones that are indoor to pay $40 an hour.
sure, yep. And we're not looking to make a profit. It's just something to, $3, people can rent the whole thing all day for minimal value. It's, yeah, so no, we'll work on it.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I guess one more park-related fact, we found out this week that the State Historic Preservation Office has approved the archaeology report, so we can send out RFPs to companies for demolition quotes, so.
Is there still hope of getting that done this year?
Yeah, yep. Being optimistic, but, yeah, we'll send that out shortly. The state still has to send me the thing without contingencies, but, we'll hopefully get them sent out here soon. Solicit quotes for the demolition. So, big news this week for Deep Lake Park. Finally. Okay, next item is to review and approve a low quote for seed treatling bud capping on 935 acres. The quote actually came in about pretty similar price as last year. I think last year was $47.95 per acre. This year's $48 per acre from Great Lakes Forestry LLC out of Wisconsin. We've had them work with us before. They do a good job. So we're just looking for approval on that. And it'll come out of our forest development budget, which we do this every year, so.
Are all of those sites relatively close together, or are they spread all over?
They're spread all over. Yep. Most of them are up towards Lake George, the pine country up there, but,
How many acres per day do they get accomplished average?
oh, I believe they can do about a couple hundred acres a day, so, yeah. So they do move pretty quick. It depends on year to year. Sometimes they bring in 24 people, some years they bring in 12 people. But usually a couple hundred acres a day.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
I'll move to approve.
Tom moves. Is there a second?
This is Ted, I'll second.
Ted seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, and motion carried.
Thank you. All right. Next item is another parks agenda item. For 2 years now since or probably 2.5 years, 3 years, I'm sure, disc golf nets have been in our budget, but now we just got the fairways built for the disc golf up at Ferris Park, so we're looking at putting in 9 disc golf nets there and then 3 at Lake George. Lake George Park was interested in a few nets too, just for the kids that come up there and want something extra to do. But pretty excited to do this at Ferris Park. It's a pretty nice little 9-hole course in the woods. It'll be a little bit challenging, but we still were able to get some fairways built. The popularity of disc golf in the county has increased tremendously, even in the last couple of years. At Heartland Park, we see people playing every day. So it'll be awesome to have another course in the county, up in the northern part of the county too. So we're looking at approval to purchase 12 disc golf baskets at $5,120. And this price includes freight and limited warranty, which the limited warranty covers, it's 20 years of the date from purchase, and it will cover rust, corrosion, and manufacturing defects. I only got 2 quotes from 2 different companies, but this DGA company is pretty popular. They're actually located out of California, but they're a pretty popular company. And the permanent baskets are commercial grade, so they should hold up for a long time.
These will be installed by county.
Yep, we'll do it. We installed the ones at Heartland Park too, and they look good, so not too difficult to put them in.
All right, is there a motion?
Yeah, this is Ted. I'll make a motion to approve the low quote.
Ted moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There are seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried.
All right, thank you. There's a map, I don't know if you saw it, of the different holes, but yeah, it'll be pretty neat. Yeah, but yeah, next thing is the yearly apportionment. It's so late. Usually we try to get it done by June, but there's a few numbers we had to get worked out with the auditor's office. With the land sales now are a little tougher. Money has to go a few different places than it used to. So we finally got it figured out. The gross income in the department, the tax forfeited land department, was $1,758,054.54. And the net income after expenditures and reserves was $808,159.27. We were requesting 30% of that, or $242,447.78, to be apportioned to the Forest Development Fund, and 20%, or $161,631.85, to be apportioned to the Parks and Recreation Fund. And then the remaining $404,079.64, or 50%, is to be apportioned between general revenue, townships, and school districts. The revenue generated comes from land sales, timber sales, leases, easements, special product permits, and aggregate permits. It does not include PILT and road or gas tax money that we get for maintaining roads. So we're looking for approval to approve the resolutions for apportionment for 2024.
So Corey, I know timber sales are up. I'm not sure, you know, what you have budgeted for land sales, but
Yep.
so this was higher than you had anticipated for 20?
It's pretty normal. If
Okay.
you see this chart,
Yep,
it's pretty normal for every year as it goes across. It all depends on when loggers open their sales. They have 2 years to open their sales, so it might be,
sure. Okay,
we have these auctions where we make $400,000 on, and then they might not actually open the sale and pay the full price till a year or
point.
two later. So,
okay.
it's kind of a guessing game when we do our budget. But it's pretty typical for an average year, what 24 was. And then just everything's bud capping and forest development, all that stuff's getting a little more expensive. And then, yeah, just working with different benefits and things don't get cheaper, that's for sure, so. But 24 is pretty typical, no huge surprises there.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll move.
Tom moves. Is there a second?
This is Ted. I'll second.
Ted seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Right, motion carried.
All right, thank you. Okay. So the last item I have is the review of the timber auction we had on July 7th 14 out of 15 tracks sold. The one that didn't sell was a little pine thinning that may be picked up in the future if someone has a sale nearby. But prices were still pretty good at that auction, even though it happened right after the blowdown event up in Bemidji. The final price of the sold timber was $323,119.37. Aspen was still at about $40 a cord, so that's good to see. Still up in that $40 range, pretty high for the state. Like I always say, we're fortunate to have the mills around. It seems like Hubbard County timber values are some of the best in the state. We're fortunate to have that, and then we're fortunate to have the logging companies around here too. That we get them from Bemidji, we get them from Cass Lake, Bacchus. They come in from all over. It's kind of nice to be a centralized place. I think that helps out with the value we get out of it. But yeah, Norway pine bolts around that $60 mark. That's still pretty good for statewide average. And then that's just for your information. So just letting you know that auction went pretty well still. And then we just had an auction yesterday. I'll bring the final values to the next board meeting, but it actually went pretty good. We had the blowdown auction yesterday. 20 out of 25 tracks sold. The 5 that didn't sell were pretty small and pretty beat up, so we kind of figured that would be the way it went, but hopefully someone will pick them up, that if they're cutting nearby, they can buy them over the counter. We made about $400,000 off that auction, which seems like a lot, but if it wasn't blown down, it'd be about double that much.
Yeah, that kind of leads me to a question. We have one more timber auction for the year, right?
Yeah, so this blowdown one was about 25,000 cords, which is almost a full year. So we were gonna hold off on the October auction.
Are you okay?
Yep. It took a toll on our management plan, and it will still make that 1.7 million, which we budget for with this last salvage auction. So we're not worried in that aspect, but the next auction will be in January. Yeah, beginning of January. So just some facts, and I can bring the information for that auction at the next board meeting. But yeah, hopefully we'll get a lot of that cleaned up. We appreciate the loggers buying them and getting them done quick. So.
Did they act like they were gonna get in and start
Yep.
taking care of them?
Yep, so there was a couple companies that bought some of the bigger tracks, and they move really quick, so we're happy that that's the way it went. Oh, yeah, it was a mess, that's for sure, and it's too bad we lost such nice timber, but that's the way Mother Nature goes.
All right, anything else for Corey?
So will we compensate some of that loss then too? Well,
Yeah, talking to Troy, we can't compensate timber value, no. Yeah, it's kind of too bad of a deal, but we'll replant and come back and have trees to thin in another 25 to 30 years.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, and we got the building permit for Garfield Lake Park, and we're starting on the shelter up there, the picnic shelter, so that's what we'll be doing the rest of the week.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, solid waste.
Good morning. All right, got a few things on the agenda today. The first item on the agenda was to discuss our reuse center grant project. And with that, just wanted to kind of share with you guys what we've been working on with that and review the the plan that we, preliminary plan that was completed by ICS. And then,
Oh, I saw it online.
you know, after that, kind of our next steps after this planning is to move into design and engineering work. So last year, just to refresh the board here, last year we received a $658,000 grant from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. It was a Sustainable Building and Materials Grant. This grant had a 25% match requirement. And the funding, again, was for remodeling and updating the old transfer station building at the South Transfer Station to continue to be used as our reuse center. Kind of looking at, the building currently was, used for 40 years, close to 40 years as a transfer station, so there's a lot of wear and tear in the building, with the steel, with the flooring, or concrete, things like that. So our main goals with this project, to continue with the reuse center, was to look at updating the exterior steel. Some of it had been replaced by insurance over the last couple of years, so we don't have to do the entire building, but most of the building we'd look at replacing the steel, replacing doors, overlaying the concrete floor in the building, and then also covering the old recess pit that's part of this, was part of the transfer station building. So we could use that as square footage for the building. And then the other main components were updating the electrical and then creating a separate intake area for reuse. So doing a small addition, about 1,100 square feet to the south of the building. So if we look through the plans, kind of the first page on the plans, we had kind of just a floor blueprint. So you can't really see much in there, but just shows what the existing floor would be. On the top of that picture there, you can see that's where the pit was for waste. So we'd be looking at putting a decking over the top of that to be used for storage. And then, again, resurfacing the floor, replacing steel, doors, electrical, and then on the right side of that picture, looking at adding about the 1,100 square feet to separate out that intake area for reuse. And then the office, old solid waste office we had there, looking at just doing some updating with that, and then per code, I think we're gonna have to do stuff with or work in the bathroom to update that to be in compliance, so. If you go into the next slide there, this,
I have a question, Josh. So go back up, Jeff, will you so you're not gonna add, currently where you have all the furniture and all that kind of stuff, you're not gonna do that in the reuse center, you're just gonna currently do what you're doing in the reuse center?
I guess I'm still.
So isn't this the reuse center where the paint and that stuff is?
This is the reuse center where we currently have our reuse program
Oh, it
operating.
is, so, okay, so it is up on the hill?
Yep.
Okay. Never mind my question then, I understand it.
Okay. So yeah, looking at the next one, you can see kind of the rendering there on that second page. So really, it's just, there isn't much to see. It's besides on the right side of there, that's where we'd add on for the intake of the reuse. And then one of the options in our initial plan was to add that covered storage off to the front of the building. And that would be, hopefully, our plan would be to, the steel that we pull off and replace on the main building, we'd try to repurpose that on that lean-to portion.
So then one other question, two questions actually. So currently you have little sheds, are you planning to get rid of those and put everything in this building?
Due to, I'll kind of cover this a little bit, but our initial cost estimate came back quite a bit higher. Initially, we were looking at building a lot bigger out front where we'd be able to get rid of the sheds, but I think with our phasing approach we're probably gonna have to take with this project, we'll probably be keeping them sheds around.
And then where you're gonna add on to the right, currently, if I drop stuff off, I go that little hill to the back. So then will you access this right from the front?
Yep, so on the next, I think the next one, or maybe go down a couple more, we kind of got a map view there. But that parking lot there will, kind of where there's a grassy area right now, off the front of that building, that's gonna all be paved We have a septic system in there now, which would be removed because we'd be connecting to city water and sewer that's on site already. So then we'd have a total separate kind of turnaround, nice entrance coming into the intake area when you drop stuff off. So it kind of shows the traffic flow, some of the parking options on this map. And it really, we'd look at, repaving all the way from that old transfer station building all the way down to our current solid waste office or the old recycling building. Because our entrance in front of that building has been delayed for several years of getting that improved and getting that up to ADA compliance. So with this project, we'd be able to kind of redo that whole segment of the lot and the facility there, which would be nice, and we've been kind of planning for and budgeting for the last several years, so.
Do you recall you gave the figures to us, I think it was early this year, how many tons were kept out because of the current use of this?
Yeah, so last year we had, 2024, we diverted 411 tons of material through the reuse center. This year, I would say we're on pace to closer to 500 tons. And we just, it's surprising how many people I think still don't really know that this is out there. So I think we've just continued to see a growth of use of it here over the last year.
When I was at the landfill yesterday, just dropping off garbage, there was like a traffic jam over there. The parking lot was full. People were looking for places to park to go shopping.
Yeah, it was a busy day. It was a busy Monday yesterday, so. Yeah, and so just continuing with the reuse numbers that mentioned that, I think this year we'll be on pace to generate about 500 tons through the reuse center. So you look at that at just a cost savings just from our tipping fees and hauling alone, if that was going into waste or our waste stream, that's about $75,000 to $100,000 per year in disposal savings by being able to divert that through the reuse center. So just a couple other points on this. We look at connecting, again, like I mentioned, to city water and sewer. And then, we have a bunch of options kind of in this initial plan, depending on how the bidding would come in, whether we could, insulate the building at this time or do that at a future phase, whether we could, put heat in the building or not. So there'd be a lot of different options. And like I said, that option you see, we're adding that covered space onto the front of the building. That could be an option too, where a person might have to phase that in later. But the big thing, I guess, we went through several different renditions with ICS. I think this was our 5th or 6th option that we had looked at. The pricing, for this project was a lot higher than I was anticipating when I applied for the grant. Some of that is due to expanding what we, part of our parking lot and paving area and extending that down to the recycling building, which we've been budgeting for. But, originally for my grant project, I had anticipated about $790,000 for this project. And with this proposal right now with ICS, or this preliminary plan, all said and done, it's looking like it could be around 1.25 million. So about quite a bit higher than what I was initially planning for. And again, 658,000 of this would be covered through grant funds. We had initially committed 132,000 in local match funds, plus another 32,000 in-kind costs. So with the the increased expense of this project, instead of being at that 25% match level, if we'd go through and this plan would kind of hold true with the cost estimates, we'd be looking at closer to a 47% match requirement on the county end. So looking at this, I had, with my budget, I've been factoring this into my budget for 2026. And then some of this stuff we already had budgeted, a little bit of this for our 2025 budget. But I think I don't know if you have any questions, but that's kind of where we're sitting right now on that planning, so.
Is it possible to get more grant dollars because of the increase?
Not with this grant, we just had or kind of a meeting with our grant administrators, and there wasn't additional funding out there, so.
Okay, any questions about that?
The next steps?
The next steps, I guess, would be really to just start moving forward with engineering and design work and getting it ready to bid and see where the actual numbers would come in at. But I do think, like, this work that ICS completed, I mean, I honestly feel it's really on the high end, taking the most, the highest end approach to it. So I am hopeful once we get to construction and bidding that we can bring it down substantially, but.
Me too.
Just for what we're doing on the facility, I mean, it's not like we're building an entirely new building and a lot of it's being reused. I think a lot of the stuff that was hard to account for as well was like the savings we should see for, for the grading, for instance, for being able to use our crushed concrete, our, crushed shingles, and a lot of that was hard for ICS to put into a dollar figure to figure out what that savings would be, but.
So I think next steps would be when we review the departmental budget. You guys are gonna be in September. And this is not a this year project, this would be a next year project, so it'll be part of our continuing conversation about solid waste budget.
The only thing I noticed too is that the elevation from where the reuse center is and your current office, that's gotta be 4 or 5 feet difference.
It's quite a bit, so I think, it'd be they'd be taking out quite a bit of material out of that area right now, and I think having more of a gradual slope through the whole site is my,
All going down
anticipation.
towards your office.
yep.
All right, thank you.
Are those grant dollars that are available now, are they gonna disappear?
So our grant runs through, I think May or June of 2027, so.
Okay, all
I
right.
think, us getting in line so we can, get this figured out over the winter, go through, bidding and be ready to start my goal would be to start right away in spring. We should be just fine with our grant, so.
Thank you.
Are there very many counties across the state of Minnesota that are doing this? Because when I have conversations, this is a new concept to people.
Yeah, there's a lot of Becker County has a program. A lot of counties have got smaller grant fundings to start doing reuse. I would say I don't think and there are some that have been doing it a lot longer than like we have, like out, the Duluth area's had they've been kind of the pioneers of that,
Okay.
this type of system. But a lot of areas do it a lot different than us with, they charge people when they're disposing of the material, and then they charge people when, they actually sell it like a rummage sale for the material. So a lot of the ways other counties are doing it, with that type of method, you're not gonna see the volumes that we see. So I think the way we have been doing it is just, the diversion volumes are a lot higher than anyone else in the state, so.
Yeah, I saw something on the news recently from Anoka County. They had a reuse program, but they also had a repair program. They'd have
Yep.
a site where they'd have repair specialists. You could bring in something as long as you had the parts to repair it. They'd repair it for you, and you'd take it home and start using it again.
For a fee?
I don't recall if it was a fee-generated thing or not. I believe it was free, but
Yeah, a lot of places are doing that, like fix-it clinics and
Yep.
have events where they do that. And, we've have had like a garden swap and things like that at our facility before. So, I think paths will probably, be going through maybe once we get our space fixed up a little bit here too, so.
all right. Next.
So the next item I had was to review and approve a quote for organics containers. We've been seeking to purchase organics containers that will be used for our commercial organics collection in Hubbard and Beltrami counties. We're looking at purchasing 500 containers. There'd be a mix of 35-gallon carts, 64-gallon carts, and 96-gallon carts. The containers would have built-in labels, kind of like the same company that has our existing recycling carts. And then they also have a 10-year warranty for parts and things like that. This is a budgeted purchase that we had planned for in our grant. And this again was with our MPCA Organics grant. The quote that we received was from Cascade Engineering out of Grand Rapids, Michigan for $26,713.50. And the lead time on that is 5 to 6 weeks. And this project is being quoted through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing.
Have you had a lot of interest from entities being interested in having organics at their sites?
So we've been discussing how we're, the rollouts, so, we haven't really got to that phase yet. We really want to be ready with our truck is going to be coming in January. We'll have these carts, and then it's kind of starting to roll out in the fall to make sure we kind of have the carts and the trucks ready to go before we're really pushing and ramping up our rollout. But we have several, working with all the people that we have on our recycling routes. We have, Hubbard County, we have kind of our initial list identified where we're going to start, which is really going to be on the main corridors, going through up around Hubbard County and up to Bemidji. And then Bemidji is getting us their list put together to really start our outreach here in the next couple months. So,
Do you anticipate locations for all these?
yeah, originally we were planning for 700 containers, so, we were able with the, increase of everything to do 500 at this time. A lot of places will end up, I think, needing, like if a school, for instance, might need 10 containers. So I don't think we'll have trouble getting rid of the containers we have now, and more than likely we'll be needing to purchase more in the short term, so.
And how does the other end look going around picking up all of these, this organics, emptying them? How does that look?
So we have already placed the order for our organics packer truck, which should be here in January, I think roughly is the timeline right now. So then we'd have that truck would be on a route to go and service these containers. So depending on how we set stuff up, we'll have probably starting out two days a week, I'm guessing, on routes, and then working it up to, pretty much have that truck rolling all week long, so.
So these are all commercial.
Yep, they'd be for commercial, for this program. We will have.
So personal will still do what we're doing now.
Yep, and there will be some changes with that coming probably in the next near term as well with what we can do with Polk County on the residential organics, and that'll be kind of a separate process, so.
I'll move to approve.
Char moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Dave seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I do have Diane Ebert on the line. We were shooting for 10 o'clock to do the first closed session, so I don't know if we can get through the next two items quickly with Josh, or if we should break now and come back to that.
I would like to get through the next two items if we could, and
Okay.
then we'd have a nice clean break. So,
All right, the next item I have then is to review and approve building repair for the South Transfer Station. We had an accident occur earlier this spring at the transfer station building, resulted in some significant damage to the south side of our building. And working through MCIT and adjusters, we had an estimate to get this repair work completed. MCIT has already allocated our funds based on that estimate, and we'd get the final depreciation paid after construction is finished. Due to the complexity of this work, we were only able to obtain one quote for this project, was from Hadia Contracting out of Monaga, and that was for $19,643.11.
We've used Hadia before.
Yep, we've been using Hadia on some smaller projects and repair projects around the facility and have been happy with those.
They did the roof on the old courthouse, and they're the general contractor on this project.
Okay,
So,
I
yes.
knew I've heard the name.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
Ted-
second.
Ted moves, Dave seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried.
And then the last item I have is to review and approve purchase for recycling dumpsters. Every year we're replacing some of the dumpsters in our fleet that have either been rusted out, damaged beyond repair. So we just like to keep up on our fleet management of our dumpsters. This year we're looking to purchase 12 4-yard dumpsters for recycling to replace and add to our routes. Again, we received one quote on this project, and this is a Sourcewell cooperative purchasing contract as well. We did have an updated quote sheet from the original one that was submitted with the packet, but you already have that and it's been included in front of you here. So that updated quote was $14,104.90. That includes lids for the containers and shipping for the containers as well. So
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ted moves. Is there?
Second.
Char seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
and that's all I had. So
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
And Mr. Chair, we would need a motion to close the open meeting and open the closed meeting for attorney-client privilege.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second? Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, Right.
Don't forget to send that address to us.
I will send it right after the meeting. We should be back in session.
Okay.
We do have one other closed session. We'll do that at the end.
Okay. So,
Did we lose Eric?
once Eric arrives, oh,
Yep.
yes. Human Resources.
Couple items before you today. The first one is regarding elected officials' out-of-state travel policy. This is basically a statutory housekeeping to incorporate into our personnel policy, provided the statutory provision of that. And then also attached is additional information from the state auditor explaining the travel policy guidelines as well too, and then the red line version of our personnel policy incorporating elected officials out-of-state travel policy. So the request today is to approve the personnel policy revisions.
We don't have a lot of out-of-state travel, do we?
No, but several commissioners have asked about the benefits of possibly joining and being more active with NACO, which would mean that could be a situation. And as Gina mentioned, this is just kind of housekeeping regardless.
It's a statutory provision that just needs to get incorporated into the policy. It's there if something comes up, you're covered then.
Seemed like pretty standard stuff.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Right. Ted moves, Dave seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, motion carried.
Want me to finish the second? The second item is the Minnesota paid family and medical leave provision. We've had some discussion before on this, but is the state law that is effective January 1 of 2026. In the background, I think outlined pretty much a summary of everything that the state law provides for the option of going with a private plan instead of being with the state plan. There's the pros of going with the state plan are listed there as well too, or the private plan, excuse me. The percentage of the premium, the state is 0.88% of the premium that will be assessed to employer and employee split, whereas the private plan request for proposals at Integrity Benefit went out for MetLife and came back with a 0.79% premium. So with that, also with MetLife, it's a 2-year rate guarantee. The state currently right now are saying their max is, off the top of my head though, and the numbers, it was 1.02 of what their max percentage was, but they reduced that to 1.01. That's now, what's that going to be when they, have the actuaries look at all this in 2026 of what will that rate be in 2027. We know in 2027 at the rate guarantee that we can be at 0.79 with that as well. So the request today is for board approval to approve MetLife's fully insured private plan administration for the Minnesota paid leave for Hubbard County. There is with the state a fee based on the number of employees you have that of $500 that would be paid here in 2025. With this approval, it would get the process going to submit our application to the state to request the private plan.
Also move.
Right, Char moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Tom seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Environmental Services.
Good morning.
Morning.
One agenda item for you this morning, and that is to renew our enterprise license agreement with Esri, which is our primary GIS software vendor for software and licenses to operate the software. We've had a ELA is the acronym used to describe the agreement with them for several years now, and have had, we transitioned to it when we reached the point where it was more economical to go into this agreement to get all the software we needed, as opposed to paying for all the software individually and all the licenses individually. So the nice thing is that they package it in a 3-year agreement so that we have a guaranteed number to use for budgeting for that period. The last cycle that ends this year, we were at $27,500 annually, and that is increased to $30,200 for the next 3-year cycle. But there are some advantages, benefits that we'll be able to take advantage of with the new agreement, in terms of they've expanded the amount of licenses that we can have without bumping into additional license fee costs.
That adds up. That adds up fast.
And they also locked in the 25 price rate for the 26 to 28 agreement, I think in recognition of states and counties all at the time that they were making that decision, having a lot of uncertainty with things that were happening at the federal level and trickling down in regard to budgets. So that was nice that Esri was proactive that way too. I'm sure they didn't want to lose customers, so I'm sure they realized a slight decrease in their margin is better than losing accounts. So with that said, MIS is comfortable with the amount. They've got that factored into their budget, so Fred's okay with it, and we just need the board to approve entering into the next agreement period.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Dave moves. Is there a second?
Just Ted, I'll second.
Ed seconds. Any more discussion?
I can't imagine not having it, so, at this point.
Yeah. And it was really because the system we have, they're changing the way their user accounts are from the old system we have right now, which is 50 of one type and 50 another. Then they're going to this more specific, tailored, you get 10 of this type, 10 of that type, so on and so forth, with different permission levels. Thankfully, with the change that the president of the company announced here back in April, it's like, all of a sudden now I have 4 times the amount of users I was originally going to have. So, because we're running up against that upper cap as it is right now. So, this is definitely good timing for us in that regard. So, because we've been talking with like Highway, having them do more field work, stuff like that, and we just didn't have enough accounts to go around. So,
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried.
thank you.
Thank you. And then I just have a quick FYI for the board to follow up and close out that data exposure matter that we had. We worked with MCIT's staff, legal as well as cybersecurity, and were able to identify no more than 100 parties that were potentially exposed. We have addresses for all of them, so letters are going out this week to those parties, along with complimentary services for some as appropriate. And so thankfully it was well contained and we were able to deal with it in a timely manner. So
Okay.
corrective measures have also been implemented so that we won't have the potential for this to occur again.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair, do you want to go straight to the closed session, or do you want to do any committee reports, or I'm just asking for a little direction here? We do have personnel at 11 o'clock, but we can tell Tess that we're a little flexible on that time.
Is there a preference?
I would say let's do the closed session.
Okay, let's do the closed session. We can always cut committee reports short
Yeah,
if we
we
have
can
to
do
on
later.
time, so. All right, very good. Is there,
Need a motion to close the open session and open the closed session?
So move.
Shar moves, Ted seconds. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
because we have personnel, could I just suggest to the chair that we just do committee reports next time?
That is fine. That's what I was just gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I'll make a motion.
Okay. I'll second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. And with that, then we will, I guess I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Shar moves,
I'll second.
Ted seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right.
There, I think I made a motion or seconded just about everything today.